So this is something that I wanted to make a video about and kind of bring it to a lot of players' attention because like a lot of other players, when we were watching the 30 million download campaign, I was a little bit disappointed initially. I mean, the free 5-star is always going to be very cool, and I like that they went ahead and fixed the Pure Prism shop, but again, you could also say maybe that's something that should have already been fixed, and I think it's a little bit weird that we need an item to reset stuff and we just can't automatically reset it, but hey, at least they're addressing the issue, they're fixing it, and it came sooner than a lot of us thought. And I'm really hoping that these reset tickets, or what I'm going to call them right now, are going to be fairly plentiful moving forward. Hopefully it won't be a super restricted item and we can relatively, reset the shop whenever we want. But one of the other things that I think really flew under the radar and is the main topic of this video is the reduction of AP for daily quests. And I don't think a lot of people are actually taking advantage of how insane this is. And I understand nobody really likes to farm their daily quests. I'm going to give you a solution for that in this video as well, because I've had my FGO JP running in the background farming for maybe about an hour and a half now, and I've got 270 million QP, right? Like that's a pretty decent chunk and it's still going in the background. And so if you're somebody that's hopping onto the JP version, because right now it's really good to get in there, not only did they increase the amount of quartz and materials you get for being a new player, if you're a returning player, they buff that as well. You can get 2 5-stars, one for finishing Fuyuki and one for this buffed ticket where you have the story lock servants on there as well. So you could pick up somebody like Waver and also pick up somebody like Nido Chris Alter. Having yourself a really strong support that gives you good generic buffs, gives you 50% to one person, and then you also have a wave clearer with a 100% battery. So even if you don't pull any ridiculous CEs, you at least can just still get through them with Nido Chris Alter. You don't need any starting charge CE. So that in and of itself is already really good, but getting through a lot of these nodes is stupid dummy easy. And so just to break it down for you, what I went ahead and did is I recorded about how much QP I was getting per run with what I would say is a kind of a standard setup of QPCEs. And again, not a whole lot of players, if you're starting out, you're jumping in right now, you're not going to have like the Bella Lisa and the Mona Lisa and maybe like say Detective Foe for that additional 5%. But with just those CEs, I'm earning about 4.5 to 4.4 mil QP every single run, and it maybe takes me about 2 minutes to have these runs go down. And again, as I'm going to break down later, not really doing these runs myself. I'm having it farm in the background for me, which again is completely fine. If you're worried about, Lasengle or somebody coming after you, especially because Sony over there was cracking down on the whole copyright, maybe you're freaking out and going, well, what else are they going to start cracking down on? First of all, I don't think those are even related to being the same things. But two, I've been using this for about the last year and I've had no problems at all whatsoever. The only thing that they really care about you doing is if you're actually speeding up the gameplay, if you make it play in like 4 times speed or something, that's when they start to come in and like step in, and they don't really like you modifying the game like that. But if you're having the game basically put in inputs for you to do farming for you and it's not really messing with the game at all itself, they tend to not really care. But just to kind of break this down for you guys, like 4.5 million QP per run when it costs 13 AP per run is better than Lotto's for QP. Now I understand Lotto's are better in general because not only are you just getting QP, you're getting Ascension material, you're getting mats, you're getting cookies, gems, skill orbs, all that good stuff. But if you're just looking for QP, which always seems to be the underlying problem for every single account, then this is one of those times that you really just want to get in the tank and start farming this, especially if you just want to take advantage of the service I'm going to talk about once I kind of get through some of the math over here. It makes your life a lot easier. Just make sure you have it running in the background. Because on average, you're going to use about 120 AP to get through one lotto box, and that one lotto box is going to give you anywhere from 3 to 4 million QP. You're getting that in 13 AP versus 120 AP. And so if you need that QP, this is now the time to go ahead and do that. Now is the time to sit down and just let your account farm a more billion amount of QP. I'm planning on trying to max out. I mean, I'm sitting on like 169 gold apples, 79 silver apples. I'm telling it to use the remaining silver apples I got. Just burn all of those because I got servants I want to level up, right? Like my BB Summer sitting over there, poor baby girl at 424 right now because we ain't got no QP. And that's the main thing that I wanted to address, but also remember that the other dailies are also going to be cheaper. And while the daily quest might not always be the best drop rate for like whatever item, like for instance, I really needed Seeds of Yggdrasil for one of my servants, and so I was contemplating going to one of the free quests, but because the Extreme Assassin daily, the final node, is also a really notable node for seeds, I decided to go ahead and farm that because technically it was a bit cheaper. The drop rate wasn't too much worse, and I was saving on a bit of AP. So technically, all of the daily quests as well function as drop rates for whatever materials you need, and you can also set those up as well. Say if you need something like snake gems or something along those lines, you can go to like the caster dailies and fight some of the Lamias that are going to be in that node. Or I think it's Lancer or Saber or Archer. It's one of the main classes, right, that has the Amazoness ladies on it, right? If you need feathers, they're going to be over there. You can go to some of these ones. Now, obviously, there's going to be, certain nodes that are just always going to be better. Like, technically, going to Fuyuki is always pretty much going to be the best for bones because, I mean, you can't really argue with a 3 AP node. It doesn't really get much better than that. But you see what I'm saying. We were kind of complaining that we weren't able to get a rerun or anything, even though they didn't mind giving us reruns a couple of months ago. I guess that's just whenever they need to stall for, future content coming out. We found out that they were going to release a new story chapter that wasn't intended to actually ever release, so I guess that kind of makes sense. But for these celebrations, I think it would always be really cool if you just rerun a lotto or something. For whatever reason, they don't want to do that or they can't do that, but they're giving us something of, I don't want to say similar value because I know people will take that out of context, but the QP and the map gains that you can get during this are really, really good. Like, I don't think people understand that like 13 AP for the normal 40 AP missions is ridiculous. That's not even accounting for the lower AP missions, like the first or second missions that you have for your dailies and whatnot. If you need, like blue gems or you need the base statues, it is basically free to go run in there and farm as much as you want to get whatever you want. Like, now is one of those times to go ahead and stock up because we have no idea when a lottery is coming. I mean, at the very least, we know we'll probably get one for Christmas. Either it'll be a new lottery or it'll be a rerun of an old lottery, whatever they decide to do with that one. But that's still a solid 2 months away. And are you going to slave away for 2 more months, not being able to really level up any of your new servants? Or if you pull somebody new and you're like, oh man, this guy really needs like a billion of these assassin gems or whatever, and you weren't able to farm those right now, like now is the time to get in on that. Now is the time to take that initiative and just start getting in there. But let's say you don't want to farm, all day, every day. Some people like farming in FGO. I think those people are crazy people. I think they're psychopaths. But if you're like me and you want to kick back, relax, play something else and let the game work for you, if you have not heard of it, there's an app called FGA. It's in the App Store and I believe it's also in the Google Play Store. Well, I know it's in the Google Play Store. Not sure about the App Store because I play on Android, but the reason it's fine to use this to do all of your farming and whatnot is because instead of using, say, a macro on an emulator where you record inputs and you put that into the game, that can mess up sometimes, right? Like, it kind of takes a bit of work to set up a good macro. Like, for me, I can have my emulator read, opening lotto boxes or doing my friend points, right? Like, that's why whenever I stream, whenever a new event comes out, I can like sit back and talk with chat and then basically have the game run all of my friend points for me until we get, our 5 to 6, bronze CE, so I at least have those to go into the event. But when it comes to actually doing some of the missions, the macros can be a little bit finicky because of the RNG that FGO has. So what FGA does is it more reads like the images as far as I'm understanding. So instead of just kind of like, oh, you tapped here, here, and here, it'll be like, oh, that's Castoria or that's your servant in the first slot, right? Okay, I'm going to click those 3 skills. You basically put in the inputs that you want it to use, and then it will replicate those and it'll go through like doing all your missions and whatnot. Now, I would break it down how to actually use it in this video right here, but I feel like that takes away from the actual creator of the app, who has a really good in-depth guide inside of the app. I mean, you download it, you go in, and then it'll literally say like YouTube guide, and you can just follow it by the letter. It's very detailed. You can find out everything that you want to do. It's very simple to use, and I think I don't want to take anything away from him because, his app, and he did, a really good guide himself for his own thing. Like, go watch his thing, right? Like, give him a little bit of love. But I wanted to put this out there before it's been a little bit too long because, again, like, I just started doing this like earlier today and set it for like an hour, hour and a half before I went to go take a walk to play some Pokemon Go, right? I was like, let me go do something else while I let this kind of work for me in the background. Come back to like almost 300 million QP. I mean, that's pretty good. That's like really, really nice. And it wasn't even like it took me that many apples to chew through because it's not like it's half off. It's 1/3 of the original AP. So that adds up. That is like a game of inches where you might not think just 7 less AP from when it's normally half off going from 20 to 30 is really going to matter that much. But when you're doing an excessive amount of runs, and especially you're like having something like this farm the game for you, that does start to add up. And so again, I would highly advise that you get on there, start farming, whether you do it yourself or you download FGA, which I cannot recommend enough. It is super, super nice. Earlier this year, when I was doing my video on a Clay and Dark, I was missing 30 bones for her because I have her on, JP and I don't have her on NA, but I was like, I can use my JP footage for the video, but I want to use her at 10, 10, 10. But I didn't want to go farm bones for like 4 hours. So what I did is I just like woke up in the morning, had it start farming for me, came back after it farmed the exact material I needed. I said, hey, keep farming until you get me 30 bones. Got me 30 bones, boom, did the video. Everything was all hunky-dory. So not only is it really good for these moments right now, but if you need something from free quest when there's not an event going on or a lotto is going on and you just don't want to farm the lotto 24/7, set up your thing and then just let it do all the work for you. And again, I've been using it for the last year, so I can tell you that I've already put my account through it. People have seen me use it on stream. So like, I've already gone through and put my neck out there to make sure that it's gonna work, it's gonna be all fine, and it worked, and it's all fine. You're not gonna get your account banned or anything like that. So don't worry too much about that. If you have any further questions, link down in the description down below is gonna be the Discord and the Twitch. You can either come ask me live when I'm streaming on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, although the stream schedule might be a little bit sporadic moving forward because I'm trying to move into doing double uploads because I really want to like put out some more content, especially on other games. So I'm just kind of very much inspired to just do a lot of work. So streams might become a little bit weirder, at least when they're timed. But if you have questions, regardless, I'll stream when I stream. Discord is down there as well. If you have a question, that I'm not there for, we have plenty of people in our FGO chat that can definitely help you out. But with all that being said, I am going to go ahead and get out of here. You guys have yourselves a nice one, and I'll catch you in, well, I guess today's later video, and then after that, I'll catch you tomorrow. So, with all that being said, peace, late guys, happy farming.